Today we are going to study the topic of what is salvation. You might not think about salvation when you meditate, or you might, but I think it's very pertinent question to our time that we happen to be living in today. Because we are facing a time that is really different from any other time that we've been living in. So obviously, we'll be meditating together. But while we'll meditate, today we contemplate on the question of salvation. Obviously, we're not meditating for the sole purpose to seek salvation, but let's try to see what does it mean. We seek salvation. So today we'll be awakening our connection to our true selves through meditation of Taeeulju, and we'll look at the question of salvation. The lecture series today is the 8th lecture, is based on His Holiness the Jongdo Sanjin's lecture at Times Center in October 2016, and the book called The Three Gates of Enlightenment, based on lecture, was just published, and this lecture series is based on this book. The book is composed of 5 chapters. Chapter 1, The Origin of Meditation, the Hongsan Culture. Chapter 2, The First Gate of Enlightenment, the Culture of the 7 Stars. Chapter 3, The Second Gate of Enlightenment, and the Literature of Taeeulju, the Ultimate One. And Chapter 4, The Third Gate of Enlightenment, the Rise of the Eastern Learning Movement, and the Coming of the Cosmic Autumn. So we have entered the third gate. We looked at the meaning of healing. Today we're looking at the meaning of salvation. And next Sunday, we'll be looking into the meaning of, in that case, enlightenment. So week 7 last week, we looked at what is healing. Today, we're looking at what is salvation. Salvation, I guess, think as sometimes a very touch word, but I'm going to think of it in terms of our time and how can we overcome our present conflicts that we face, especially this pandemic that is occurring around us. With the rise of vaccines, we might actually be taking a breathing, but at the same time, is that enough? Is there something that fundamentally that we need to seek to overcome this time of pandemic that we happen to be living in? In our meditation, we'll be defining our time as the time of the coming of the cosmic autumn. We have looked at, for the past series of 7 lectures, we come to define the meaning of cosmic autumn. We have, just like we have seasons, and right now we are facing the beginning of spring where flowers are blooming, the greens are coming out. Within one day, we also have a cycle of morning, afternoon, evening, and nighttime. We have a larger cycle of what is called the cosmic season. And the cosmic season is composed of 129,600 years. Within that larger cycle of cosmic season, there's cosmic spring, cosmic summer, cosmic autumn, and then cosmic winter. And we happen to be living at a time that we must consider the coming of the cosmic autumn. What does that mean, cosmic autumn? Well, in the season of autumn, we consider it as the season of the harvest. Spring is the time of when we spread the seeds. Summer is the time when we grow things And autumn is the time when we harvest. So cosmic autumn, in a larger scale, is the time when we harvest, but we harvest civilization. Cosmic spring is the time when human civilizations spring forth. Cosmic summer is a time when human civilizations grow, and they grow through conflicts. Cosmic autumn is a time when human civilizations come together, and they come together with meditation of Taeeulju mantra. So now we are facing a time of civilization growing, but we're facing a time of civilization coming together in maturity. And the question is, in that sense, what does it mean when we ask the question of what is salvation? The answer to that is we must harvest our own civilization. We must answer to our past and our history and bring fruition to it. So as we enter the chapter 4, let's take a look at what Sabanim says about the coming cosmic autumn. The coming of the later heaven and mutual life bettering and life saving. Summer has a principle, spring has a principle, autumn time has a principle. The principle of spring and summer is growth. When we look at children, you're not going to be able to see them sitting still. They're always constantly moving because their nature is young energy, it's growing. But when autumn comes, we need to bring fruition to all the growth that took place in the summertime. The coming of the later heaven and the mutual life bettering and life saving. So when we ask the question, what is salvation in this time of change from cosmic summer to cosmic autumn? When we bring harvest to human civilization, the answer is the coming of the later heaven and mutual life bettering and mutual life saving. The shift in cosmic seasons is brought about by a shift in the heavens. There exist two quite different heavens that raise human civilizations with different principles. There are the early heaven and the later heaven. The period from cosmic spring to summer is called the early heaven, Sunchun in Korean. The period from cosmic autumn to winter is called the later heaven, Huchun. You might think, well, there is two different heaven. Well, there's heaven. And what does it even mean to say heaven? But here we're talking about the nature of things in early heaven, which is the nature of things in spring to summer, and the nature of things autumn to winter. The nature of things in spring and summer expands. It's like when you blow a balloon, it expands. That's the nature of spring and summer. Nature of autumn and winter, it contracts. Some people are sad when things contract. Why? Because if you see a human face during the time of expansion, in the time of young energy, obviously, you see these faces that is bulging. Well, I shouldn't say bulging, but youthful face. But in the time of autumn, when the faces contract, you see wrinkles. So you might think, oh, you have wrinkles. But that is the evidence of harvest of our lives. When we ask the question of what is salvation, meaning of salvation is we are bringing fruition to our life. We are bringing fruition to the civilization that has grown in the time of spring, cosmic spring, and cosmic summer. We are bringing about the later heaven. The basic principle of early heaven is 상극. Sanguk is a difficult word. Sanguk means what we have looked as a principle before. Sanguk means that mutual restraint or mutual conflict. You can kind of think of in the springtime, the seed struggles and comes out of the ground. That is the conflict process, but that's also the process that gives life. Since the purpose of the early heaven is to produce and grow humans and nature, the principle of competition and struggle is inevitable in the early heaven. So there is even an economic principle, right? We say the economy grows through competition. But we ask the human question of what happened to those who fail and lose? It's a very human question. Just because the nature and principle of time of cosmic summer as competition and because struggle is inevitable doesn't mean that we can put aside those who are struggling. As a result of the principle of mutual conflict and domination, all things on earth in the time of cosmic spring and summer develop in an imbalanced way. That's why even our pole is shifted in one direction. In your meditation, have you ever wondered why is our pole shifted? Why is our heart on the left side, not in the middle? Why do we have spring, summer, autumn, and winter? During the early heaven, the axis of the earth is tilted. Due to this tilt, we have spring, summer, autumn, and winter, actually. Some places have extreme cold and extreme hot. It is owed to the principle of mutual conflict and domination that we have conflicts and competition, which result in imbalance and disparity. This disparity and imbalance in economics is the cause of wars and various kinds of suffering in human societies, including fierce competition, regional conflicts, natural disasters, and endless wars. I don't think there has even been a single moment in human history there was no war on some place on earth. So when we say we must harvest human civilization, we also need to answer to these wars that took place in human history. And various kinds of suffering in human societies, including fierce competition, regional conflicts, natural disasters, and endless wars. These are all derived from the Sanguk nature, the conflict nature of the early heaven. Because nature itself operates within such a cosmic principle of conflict, humanity lives under the environment of disparity and imbalance. The important thing we must grasp is how to evolve beyond this age of conflict. The later heaven is dominated by the principle of sangseng. That is, how do we go beyond this nature of conflicts, this nature of competition? We open the age and the principle of sangseng, or mutual life bettering and life saving. If if we ask children, what is the purpose of life? Nobody will say, yes, the purpose of life is to have competition and conflict with each other. What would the meaning of life be? Would you have joy in your life that all that was to life was to have competition and have conflict with each other? The joy of life comes about because we think about other people. We think about the love that we have for the people, for the humanity. Within cosmic summertime, It's just that only one principle exists. They both exist. The principle of sangseng, mutual life bettering and life saving, as well as hanguk, which is a principle of mutual conflict, they both exist. But when things grow, the principle of conflict dominates. But underneath it, the major principle, the driving force of life, is indeed sangseng, mutual life bettering and life saving. We do not have conflict for the sake of conflict. We do have conflict because we want to overcome it. Nobody, even the most evil people in the world that you might think of, if you ask them, why do you have wars? The person will say, to bring about peace. We have conflicts and competition, but at the center, at the core of it, is we have sangseng, which is mutual life bearing and life saving. But as autumn comes, that comes to the surface. That becomes the dominant principle. This is a period that matures and unifies human civilization and nature. So the purpose of life, or the driving principle of civilization no longer becomes conflicts, but the driving principle becomes maturity and unification. Think about the problems that humanity faces today. The humanity faces today, such as global warming, pandemic that occurring today, is not something that we can solve through competition. It is the problem that was brought on by competition. We can only solve problems like pandemics or global warming by coming together and looking at the problem as a whole. That is the first step, humanity thinking about uniting together. That principle of coming together is what is going to come to surface more and more as we enter the page and as we open the chapter of Cosmic Autumn. And we must open it. It is humanity that opens the time of Cosmic Autumn. Yes, the nature brings spring, the nature brings summer, the nature brings some autumn, the nature brings winter. But it is humanity when autumn comes, we harvest the fruits. It is humanity when cosmic autumn comes, we open the age that unifies human civilization and nature. Unless we do that, we cannot survive this age of pandemic. We created this massive problem because we're living under the principle of conflicts. And we have grown through conflicts, but we can only overcome it by coming together. We cannot overcome it through competition. You can't overcome global pandemic that we are facing through conflicts and competition. We can only solve it by uniting together. Therefore, eternal peace and harmony is achieved in the later heaven. Until we understand this, we cannot go beyond the framework of the past thinking. In the coming age, extreme cool and warm weather disappears from Earth. Yin and yang energy comes into balance in nature and civilization. Complete balance and harmony comes about, and the order of oppressed yin and revered yang change to the order of equal yin and yang energy. The discrimination of women in the workplace, unequal rights for women, the income gap between men and women, all these issues will be resolved and all natural disasters will end. In the past, it made sense not to pay a lot of money to people for the corporation to succeed. Today, it makes sense for the corporation to pay the people not only to have more consumers, but also for the success of the company as well, to have a greater productivity, to produce a situation of what we call win-win. The thinking of Our everyday life is slowly undergoing a change to the time of cosmic autumn to bring about the balance of yin and yang energy. It will happen individually, it will happen in nature, it will happen in our social structure as well. Sangjenim introduced a secret method called Uitong to help us usher in this new era. Uitong means to unite humanity by healing. Humanity cannot become one unless and until the wrongs of the past that are paining humanity are healed. We cannot simply say, let's get together and hold hands. We have to rectify the wrongs of the past and heal the psychological wounds of the pains of the past as well. Otherwise, they will generate physical illnesses in the people and society that carry those pains. So here's the answer to the question of what is salvation. And it is the word called uitong. It's great to say, let's come together. But the racial divide that is happening in the United States today, we cannot simply overcome it by saying, let's get together. Because there's a history of wrongs that has been done. And unless those history of wrongs are rectified, justice has been served, we really cannot properly heal. So the history really needs to be healed in order for us to open the new time. That is, when we talk about harvesting, when we talk about harvesting human civilization, the time of cosmic summer, we're really talking about healing humanity of the wrongs that has been done. When we talk about competition, when we talk about conflicts, there's winner and then those who are losers, but not only winners and losers, but there are those who have been victimized. The question is, how do we rectify those wrongs? It is one thing to heal oneself from the psychological pain with going to a doctor's office or doing meditation, but it's something else in this level of society that we put forth the right history so the society itself is healed. The history must be put forth correctly, rightly, justifiably. Otherwise, we cannot heal. Individual healing and the society in general healing is really one and the same thing. And when we're truly talking about salvation, when we're truly talking about healing of humanity, we really need to rectify the wrongs of the history. Otherwise, that we cannot talk about harvesting human civilization. We cannot talk about opening of the cosmic autumn. We need to rectify the wrongs that has been done in human history. To rectify the wrongs mean to correct the history. Holocaust museums are a good example of this. So is the apology by Japan to Korea's comfort women who were kept as sexual slaves by the Japanese. These are good starts, but afterward we need to heal the psychological wounds through meditation for the world to become truly one. For this, we need a Taeeulju mantra. The main message of Eastern learning is that the age of the Heavenly Father is opening as the absolute infinite, the Muguk Tedo. As it is stated in the Korean Dojon, now is the age of heaven and earth's achievement of their purpose. Now is the time of cosmic autumn. The autumn destiny of all the world has now dawned. This is the most important message that Jingsanto has been conveying, the time of healing. So the time of healing, we open up with Taeeulju mantra. But we also actively need to seek to correct the history, to reveal the wounds of the past and bring it to light in history, as well as bringing humanity together with Taeeulju mantra. The great change of Kebyeok. The approaching time of Kebyeok is when the universe and humanity will be reborn. Kebyeok is the message of hope that humanity will encounter a new world. Kebyeok is not the end. It is merely a message of hopeful new beginnings. However, this period of rebirth will also be a period of great upheaval. Although Kebyeok is not the end, the transition to the time of autumn is a period of great disaster and disease, which we are kind of seeing it starting to take place. We are seeing weather disasters happening more frequently due to global warming. We're seeing the happening of pandemic right in our eyes at this point because of we have disrupted the nature, and the disease from nature is transferring into humanity. The future does not come about through the advance of new technology alone. All futurists claim the same thing. The disruption of modern civilization awaits us. We're facing the end time. We cannot avoid Kebyeok. We're facing the disintegration of modern civilization. Earth is heading towards the tipping point like a bullet train that cannot stop. And the pandemic that we're facing today is like that tipping point. I hope through our pandemic situation today, humanity awakens and understand what is the priority. It is not the consumer spending. It is humanity coming together. And in order to do that, we need to rectify history and come together. According to Jungsando, which is when this cosmic autumn comes, the calendar will also change. That is, there's a fundamental change that needs to occur in the structure of humanity as well as principle of nature itself. And we will have 360 days in a year. Why 360 days? Because in a circle, there's 360 degrees. So if the sun was going around, if the earth was going around the sun in a perfect circle, we would have 360 days in a year. Right now we have 365 days because earth runs around the sun in an elliptical way. It's not a perfect circle. This was first predicted by Confucius in the I Ching. In the future, there will be 360 days in a year. Right now, we have 365 days in a year, and it is this 5 degree that is causing the imbalance. There's imbalance of yin and yang. When the autumn comes, February will become the beginning of the year. As we enter the time of the cosmic autumn, that is the nature of this cosmic autumn, there's a fundamental change of human civilization and society where the principle of nature itself is different. In that case, in order to open this time, we really need to fundamentally think ourselves differently, look at our nature differently. We need to bring everything in balance. And we need to think of the world as part of us, not as the world we're competing against. As we enter the time of the cosmic autumn, we need this frame of shift. This degree of imbalance will fall off. In nature, it occurs, but it needs to occur within us as well. But in order for that principle change within us needs to occur, we need to rectify history and come together with Taeeulju mantra. And we will live in an age of balanced yin and yang. When this change takes place, the new principle, the new order, and the new way of balanced yin and yang will come about. But in order for that to happen, it is necessary to drop 5 degrees. This transition will bring about great catastrophes such as earthquakes and tsunamis. This change is really already have started, and we can see all around us. But to go from 365 days to 360 days, this glow, this is a cosmic change. That's why it's a cosmic autumn that's opening. There's a fundamental change of nature that we'll be living in. The shift in degrees will also bring an autumn frost. The autumn time is a period of harvest. It is time to gather the fruits. Just as with the autumn frost, the trees bear fruit, with the cosmic autumn frost, humanity will come into fruition. The nature itself will demand humanity to come into fruition. The nature itself will demand humanity to come together with Taeeulju mantra. The frost is the mysterious disease that is coming. It has already coming. We're seeing it happening in our eyes. According to the teaching of Eastern learning from 160 years ago, first smallpox will recur, and then a mysterious disease will sweep the world. This mysterious disease will erupt first in Korea and will invade the world for 3 years. COVID-19 that we face today we've been involved in this disease almost more than 2 years now. Will it last up to 3 years? Hopefully we can resolve it by the end of this year. The COVID-19 is a virus, and also smallpox is a virus. Smallpox is actually a much larger virus. COVID-19 is actually a much smaller virus. And it was much easier to find a vaccine because it's smaller. Smallpox, we do have a vaccine against it, but if there is mutation of it, then it becomes a little more difficult to find the vaccine because it's a much larger virus. We will see what really takes place in the future as we overcome this pandemic. The main thing is that humanity really awakens from this and understand that we really need to fundamentally shift our thinking from the growth thoughts into maturity and uniting thoughts. How to overcome Kebyak? In order to open up the cosmic autumn to civilization, a new culture of spirituality must come forth to awaken all of humanity fundamentally. To accomplish this enlightenment, the spiritual culture of the Taeeulju mantra was bestowed upon humanity by the Heavenly Father, Jeongsan Sangjenim. At this time of crisis, the thing that will prevent us from this mysterious disease of cosmic autumn frost is the Taeeulju mantra. Sangjenim said, I affix all energy of medicine into Taeeulju mantra. So the Taeeulju mantra is the medicine of life that'll help us awaken at this time of change from cosmic summer to cosmic autumn. So with Taeeulju mantra, humanity comes together as one. The Taeeulju mantra is the means of survival, surviving all catastrophic changes of Kebyak. At this time, our survival is dependent upon us returning to our roots. Just as in autumn, the plants and trees all return their energy to their roots, so also in this time, all humans must learn to receive the energy of our roots in order to survive. By becoming one with our ancestors, we can receive the energy of autumn's fruition. We must live with appreciation and gratitude for our roots of life, heaven, earth, and our ancestors. The Taeeulju mantra helps us discover our roots and resolve the bitterness and grief of our ancestors. Taeeulju mantra brings serenity to the mind, the heavenly soul, and the earthly soul, allowing communication with the Holy Spirit realm. It is a mantra that will save the world's people. Our ancestors exist within us, and our ancestors are also our roots. Taeeulju mantra is a mantra that is returning us to our roots, to our ancestors. But not only does it return to our roots, to our ancestors, but it also resolves the bitterness and grief of our ancestors. Because our ancestors have lived a time of mutual conflict, wars, and genocides, the grief and bitterness has been piled upon on human history, and it needs to be rectified and healed. It needs to be resolved and healed. We need to rectify in history. We need to put forth the light upon the history of those that has been forgotten, the victims of human history. We need to put lights upon it. We need to bring true history to surface, because history has been written by those who has won the war, those who was victimized has been buried underneath. We need to rewrite history and bring to surface those who have actually built our present civilization, was fallen by the roadsides, although they have actually toiled to build our civilization today. We need to put them to lights. We need to rectify our history itself. We need to rewrite it and put them to lights. We need to rewrite our present system to heal human griefs. And in the end, with Taeeulju mantra, we need to resolve the bitterness and grief of our ancestors, so we can actually truly come together as one. So when we say humanity needs to come together as one, the wars will not end until we put lights upon history and truly rewrite our history to bring forth justice upon the past. And through Taeeulju meditation, we bring about healing to our ancestors. And it is the mantra that will save the world people through that process. Only one who has a 50,000-year fortune may chant the Taeeulju mantra. At the same time, all human beings can be saved by the Taeeulju mantra. In fact, since Taeeulju is a fountain of life from Mother the Heaven, no one can survive without the Taeeulju mantra. The energy of all medicine is also in Taeeulju. The Taeeulju mantra overcomes all hindrances. It vanquishes all illnesses. It fulfills all wishes. It spreads the Tao of Sangjenim throughout the world. It delivers all humanity. It actualizes all that is willed. It is boundless and eternal. The Taeeulju mantra is the wish-fulfilling mantra. Taesang Jongdosanim has said, Taeeulju mantra is the foremost life source of the present-day humanity. And it is something that you must experience by chanting Taeeulju mantra. This is the diagram that Taesang Jongdosanim drew upon us to teach you where we happen to be living in. We happen to be living in at that very point where later heaven Kebyeok is about to occur, where the cosmic autumn, the harvest of humanity, the harvest of human civilization is about to take place. And we are the one who is bringing harvest upon human civilization. Our hands are the hands that's going to bring harvest of human civilization by rectifying the wrongs of the past and by healing humanity and coming and bringing humanity as one, as together. And the science also talks about the cycle of cosmic season of 130,000 years uh, through the changing the orbits. Let's take a look at our workshop book. Obviously, this is week 8. We're asking the question of what is salvation. According to Dojon, now is the age of heaven and earth's achievement of their purpose. At my command, the spirits of heaven and earth will purge unrighteous and inconspicuously aid the righteous in accordance with the righteousness that is the destiny of autumn. The evil will fall like autumn leaves and perish, while the true will ripen into the bountiful fruits of autumn. As we approach the time of autumn more and more, the principle of autumn will open up. And the principle of autumn is that we are harvesting this human civilization of the past. So the unrighteous will purge and the righteous will come into fruition. And in the end, through enlightenment, through Taeeulju meditation, we will come into fruition as the fruits of heaven and earth by harvesting human civilization of the time of cosmic summer. All the heavens imbalance, malevolent, all the heavens malevolent karma, and all of the spirit's bitterness, grief, and vengeance are combining to create the ills of the world. That is the cause of the disease, the pandemic, which will one day manifest as the mysterious disease. There has been no illness of such magnitude in spring and summer. When the season transitioned to autumn, retribution for the sins of spring and summer will spawn the terrible disease. Even in our cycle of a year, when autumn comes and when the cold weather sets upon, that's when we catch cold. All the heavens. All the heaven here means the time of cosmic spring, time of cosmic summer, when human civilizations grow. Malevolent karma, those wrongs that humanity have conducted upon each other. And all the spirits, bitterness and grief, in their case, the victims, their bitterness and grief and vengeance needs to be resolved. We need to rectify it in history. But in the end, those that is not resolved will combine to create the illness of the world, which will one day manifest as the mysterious disease. How do we overcome it? Again, by rectifying history and with Taeeulju mantra, humanity coming together. How do we overcome this mysterious disease that'll befall upon humanity? That is befalling upon humanity right now. We have a vaccine, yes, but what happens when the virus mutates? We need fundamentally understand the structure and system of human civilization that has brought about this pandemic. And when we understand it, we can overcome it. In the end, the nature of human thinking has to change from one of conquering nature, one of simply bulldozing nature, into living together with nature, with overcoming this thinking of causing global warming to be in harmony with nature. How do you be in harmony with nature? Well, that is the principle of cosmic autumn. But how do we think in the framework of cosmic autumn? By opening our mind into the principle of the cosmic autumn with Taeeulju mantra. Taeeulju mantra brings us to the root of who we are. When we return to the root of who we are, to our ancestry, we resolve the grief and bitterness of our ancestry. And in the end, we return to the roots of heaven and earth, and we become an understanding of the nature and the principle of heaven and earth. We come to understand the nature of the illnesses, the pandemics that we're facing today. And we understand what is the reason for the disease and how do we overcome it. You hold within your hand the word Sang, which means to save life, and is now not the autumn in which humans fulfilled the will of heaven and earth. My work shall be accomplished through 3 stages of change. The work of heaven and earth rests at the divide between life and death. And our ceaseless struggle is the work of earning 3 meals a day. Our work is to survive when others die and to flourish with glory and prosperity when others merely live. So when you chant Taeeulju, you hold within your hand the word Sang, which means to save life. So when we ask the question, what is salvation? It is in your hand. In your hand, you hold the word Sang, which means to save life. How do you save life? We need to rectify our history. And through Taeeulju mantra, we need to come together. We need to shift our thinking to the thinking of saving life. The principle of competition is to destroy nature, is to take out the resource from the earth and consume it and make waste. We need to rethink our thoughts. Present economy depends on raping the earth, consuming it, and making waste. We need to rethink it. We need to hold the word Sang, which means to save life, in our hand. Our economy needs to operate in such a way to save lives. Our daily activity, our work, our relationship, all of that needs to evolve in terms of saving life. When we do our work, we need to think about, is this saving life? I think people do that anyway. Nobody goes to work and say, I'm going to make this thing that's going to destroy the world, even though there has been rumors going around the internet saying that somebody invented this coronavirus to kill everybody and then to make money by making vaccines. Well, in cosmic summertime, in the time of competition, you might actually think that way. But the point is that now, at this time of cosmic autumn, you hold within your hand the word Sang, which means to save life. Our everyday activity, our everyday work, our everyday relationship, every second when we have our eyes open, even while we are sleeping, we need to think, how do we save life? To that shift of frame of mind to take place, we need to be chanting Taeeulju, becoming one with the principle of nature of cosmic autumn, to be one with humanity, to be one with heaven and earth, to be one with our neighbor. In our Taeeulju mantra, we also, when we chant, when we meditate, we hold the word Seng, which means to save life, in our hand. So today we're going to do what is called Dogong together. Today, when you chant Taeeulju, I want you to hold the word Seng in your hand to save life. And when you chant, we're going to move our hand up and down, or you can shake it like this, or move it up and down. But when you do that, make sure to hold the word Seng, or to save life, in your hand, or the word that said to save life, in your hand. So, and when you chant, we're going to do a dynamic meditation where you're going to make a movement with your body and you're going to hold your hand. You can hold your hands this way, up and down, sideways, but make sure to hold the word to save life. We have been developing and understanding the change of opening of cosmic ear through the teachings of Cheonbyogyang over the span of 10,000 years, with the teachings of Hado, Nakso, and I Ching. Some of you probably have seen the book I Ching. And finally, all of that boils down to one phrase, the cosmic ear. So all of these teachings come down to this one diagram of cosmic ear. 50,000 years of early heaven, 50,000 years of later heaven. There's cosmic spring, there's cosmic summer, there's cosmic autumn, and cosmic winter. We happen to be right now living at the time of change from cosmic summer to cosmic autumn. We need to change the frame of our mind. Adam Smith talked about invisible hand. By doing competition, humanity lives all well together. Even though he talks about competition, his reasoning for competition is that in the end, humanity will all live together in harmony through competition. So even in his argument of competition, his purpose really is not competition, but in the end, we will harmoniously work out together. But we now need to rephrase that thinking. We need to bring about harvest of human civilization through harmony by holding to save life in our hand. In every activity we do, in every daily activity, in every relationship we have relationship to save life. And we're going to do that in our meditation today. We're going to do a dynamic meditation where we're going to hold the word to save our life. And with the chant and with the drumming, you'll be moving your body up and down, sideways, if you want. And you'll be holding your hand up and down like this. But as you do that, please hold the word to save life in your hand. We looked at that there's early heaven and later heaven. One cosmic year is 129,600 years. The principle of mutual conflict and domination has been the source of all bitterness and grief and the origin of sin. But now we need to change that principle. Where does humanity currently stand? The transition period from cosmic summer to cosmic autumn, we're about to change the principle. The fundamental order of autumn now is the time to return to the origin of one's own roots, the ancestor. When spring comes, you'll see the water, the tree draws water through its roots and send it to the leaves. The leaves becomes green and the tree grows. When autumn comes, the water goes back to the roots. Because of that, the green leaf changes color. The reason the green leaf changes color because water has left. And then the tree stopped growing and the nutrition goes to the fruits. So it comes into fruition. Right now is that time where the water goes back to the roots, our ancestors. From our ancestor, we receive our life. We have received our life in the past. We're still receiving life. And Taeeulju mantra is a direct connection to our ancestors. We're a life energy comes from. Earth is heading towards the tipping point like a bullet train that cannot stop. That's from a passage from a movie called Snowpiercer. From the early heavens destiny of mutual conflict and domination to the later heavens destiny of mutual life-giving and life-saving. So this is the principle that we're offering. By the way, that movie, The Snowpiercer, is done by the same director who made the movie that won the Oscar last year, the Parasite. And we have another Oscar tonight, isn't there? And if you look at the movies today, it is telling us the message of the Kebyak. It is really giving us a message of changing time. And we are trying to express it, although some movies more eloquently than the others. Let's see who wins the Oscar tonight. From the early heavens destiny of mutual conflict and domination to the later heavens destiny of mutual life-giving and life-saving. So this is the principle that we're opening. Kebyak is not the end. It is the message of a hopeful new beginning. Why has there been only limited scope of enlightenment? Next week, we're going to look into what does it mean to be enlightened? What is the meaning of enlightenment? Well, the first step is truly to hold the word to save life in our hand. A great change is upon us. The world of cosmic autumn is near. The lack of proper understanding of the cosmic ear. Now, I'm sure through this 9-week series, you have a better understanding of cosmic ear now. A new order of cosmic autumn is coming, and it is the order of right yin and right yang, the balanced yin and yang. 360 days in a year. The axis tilted. Now it shifts up, seeking out the beginning and returning to the origin. So that's the meaning of Taeeulju mantra. We're seeking out the beginning and returning to the origin, to our ancestry. Spring and summer, the water goes to the leaves. Autumn and winter, the water goes back to the roots, and it bears fruits. So when we seek and understand our ancestry, we receive the energy of the autumn. The Taeeulju mantra is, those who chant the Taeeulju mantra are those who are blessed with the destiny of 50,000 years. The Taeeulju mantra shall deliver the world's people. I have gathered the chi of all medicine into the Taeeulju mantra. The Taeeulju mantra is medicine. The Taeeulju mantra resolves all hindrances. The Taeeulju mantra vanquishes all illnesses. The Taeeulju mantra is the mantra to overcome. Taeeulju mantra is the mantra to overcome Kebyak. Taeulchan heaven is the womb of the universe. This is Taetang Jongdosanim who have taught us. The Taeulju mantra is our first and foremost life source. We must chant it as if we're breathing oxygen. This is also Taesang Jongdosanim always teaching us. The significance of meditation, the only way to find the self, the true self. The Taeulju mantra is the essence of spirituality. This is Sabanim teaching us. The cosmic ear, understanding of cosmic principle must precede the understanding of the mind. When we understand the principle of the cosmic ear, we come to understand the mind. Otherwise, it is difficult to understand the mind. The Taeulju is a mantra of self-healing, and ultimate enlightenment is the essence of spirituality. This is the passage that we'll look into next Sunday, when we try to understand the enlightenment. It is a holy mantra that will preserve you from all kinds of natural disaster and unforeseeable accidents and mysterious disease. Always remember that the world we are living in is at the threshold of new era of cosmic autumn, and make sure to hold the word to save life in your hand. When you chant mantra, when you meditate, make sure to offer a water bowl to the ancestors, to heaven and earth, and to yourself. Make sure you drink that water after meditation. There's different ways of meditate, quiet sitting meditation, and then there is dynamic meditation. And dynamic meditation is what we're going to do today. As you chant Taeulju mantra, I want you to move your hand up and down as you hold to save life in your head. Move it up and down, probably slowly in the beginning, but more in a dynamic way as you continue, or you can shake it like this, sideways or up and down, but always make sure to hold the word to save life in your hand as you chant. Taeeulju mantra, I'm sure all of you know by now. Start with the sound hum. Chi. Hum chi is like an antenna that we're receiving our original energy from our ancestors, from our life source. And Taeil Chon Sangwon-gun is our ancestry, our life source. It is the of the universe. Hum chi, Taeil Chon Sangwon-gun. Humchi, Taeil Chon Sangwon-gun. Take a deep breath. Humni chi adore humni amni sapa. Take a deep breath. Humchi Taeil Chon Sangwon-gun. Take a deep breath. Humni chi adore humni amni sapa. Take a deep breath. Chi Taeil Chon Sangwon-gun. Take a deep breath. Humni chi adore humni amni sapa. And as you do that, make sure you're moving your hand. Chi Taeil Chon Sangwon-gun. Take a deep breath. Humni chi adore humni amni sapa. Take a deep breath. Chi Taeil Chon Sangwon-gun. Take a deep breath. Humni chi adore humni amni sapa. So I'm going to play Sabanim's Taeeulju mantra with drumming. As you do, listen to it. Make sure, as I said, move your hand up and down. This is dynamic meditation where you are holding the word to save in your hand, and your hand becomes the hand that saves. Literally, you will be able to perform healing with your hand, but that's a different issue altogether. But make sure to hold the word to save life in your hand. And also, as I said, through meditation, see if your frame of mind changes from one of conquering nature, one of competition, to the one of to save life, to bring about healing, to our ancestry, to our society, to ourselves, to our nature, to humanity. So we'll chant together for about 20 minutes. Listen to the mantra, chant along. As you do, move your hand up and down like this, sideways, but hold the word to save in your hand.
umchi Taeul Chon Sangwon-gun humni chi adore humni amni sapa. umchi Taeul Chon Sangwon-gun humni chi adore humni amni sapa. umchi Taeul Chon Sangwon-gun humni chi adore humni amni sapa. Taeul Chon Sangwon-gun humni chi adore humni amni sapa. umchi Taeul Chon Sangwon-gun humni chi adore humni amni sapa. umchi Taeul Chon Sangwon-gun humni chi adore humni amni sapa. umchi Taeul Chon Sangwon-gun humni 웅치 웅치 태율 천사 원구 웅리 지야 도래 웅리 합리 사파 웅치 웅치 태율 천사 원구 웅리 지야 도래 웅리 합리 사파 웅치 웅치 태율 천사 원구 웅리 지야 도래 웅리 합리 사파 웅치 웅치 Nityadore, Niyamni Sapa. 마지막 3분 더 집중해서 조금 더 빨리 계시고
Now it's evening time. I thank you all for participating, and I hope everybody hold their word to save in their hand, in their daily activities, when you meet six people, when you conduct work, to do them in the framework of mind of saving life. Any questions, comments? Please open your video so we can greet and say hello.
Hello. How are you?
How are you, Amy? Is that your car?
Yes, everybody was talking in the house, so I had to go out to the car to meditate.
I see.
Come on.
So have you ever tried Dogong before, or the dynamic meditation? You have. Okay.
Yes.
So how was it
I
today?
think it comes in some ways more naturally to me because I'm a dancer. So it
Yes, we saw you dancing last time.
oh no. Okay, so but yeah, the
Yes.
there's a lot of visualization, I think, when I move to the music, and the flow is easier for me than sitting completely still. But like finding that balance between stillness and movement so that the energy flows correct. It's an art. It's an art form, I think. So yeah.
Well, thank you for joining us today. We'll
Thank
see you
you.
next Sunday. How are you, John?
Hi, thank you so much. I'm well, thank you. Yeah, that was very interesting. Of course, the dynamic meditation leaves me kind of energized as opposed to, just the sitting gentle meditation.
Right.
And having the good message that you said about save life in the hands put another dimension to the meditation. And I think that was a very good message.
Okay. Yes, please have to save life in your hand, and your hand tingles with saving life.
Yeah.
Good. See you next Sunday.
Okay, thank you.
And Joyce, are you there?
I'm here. Hi.
Hi.
Greeting.
How are you?
I'm okay. I have technical difficulty with my phone. It's just going on and off, so it goes in and out. I'm sorry about that. I am
okay.
well. I love the dynamic meditation because, like I think John just said, it leaves me more stimulated. I feel the tingling in my hands, and I did want to ask a question though.
Sure.
I know we're in the cosmic autumn.
Well, we're about to enter cosmic autumn.
About to enter into the cosmic autumn. When they would talk, are you familiar with the Anunnaki?
Not really. Isn't it one of the deity of Egypt?
The Anunnaki,
or is it Sumerian?
It's not even Egypt. It's supposed to be ancestral or not of this earthly world. That have come down. So I just wanted to know what your thoughts were on that, how we've been shaped, because they are in the drawings, the hieroglyphics of Egypt and everything. They talk about it. A lot of the tribes of Africa, the indigenous people, the Native Americans, they also perform different things that are symbolic to giving homage to the Anunnaki. So I just wanted to know if, what your thoughts were about that.
Right. The word An is a very profound word.
Mm-hmm.
An, according to Sumerians, An is the sky god.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And also An means to comfort.
Mm-hmm.
It in in characters of Korea and China, it is written with a hat
Mm-hmm.
in the shape of a female. A female that wears a hat is a shaman.
Mm-hmm.
So the word an connotes comfort, peace, but also it connotes the heaven as well as the shaman. So it is, uh, it, I believe the word itself is denoting uh, the spirituality that is receiving spirituality from heaven and earth and communicating that message to earth. So it is
Mm-hmm.
that kind of being. Um, it um, in Korea during the Shilla dynasty, there was a very famous Korean monk who wanted to go to China to learn about Buddhism. But on his way to China, he went to a cave, and then he was really thirsty, so he drank water. And then when he woke up in the morning, he saw that there was a skull, and then there was like a little water left over inside skull, and he realized that he drank that rotten water from skull. So he started vomiting. And then while he was vomiting, he realized last night while he was drinking this water, it was the most delicious water. But now he's looking at the same water, and then he realized it was this water from skull, so he's vomiting. The same water, the only thing different is his mind framework. So he didn't go to China, and then he just became a very enlightened person. Um, but one of the thing is, one day he was going around the country reciting a chant that says he has an axe without um, um, he has a handle of the axe without the metal part that puts
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
the thing that chops. So he has handle of the axe, and he's looking for that metal part to complete an axe. And with that axe, he's going to chop a tree that's going to hold the heaven. And he's going to make the column that holds the heaven. So he's run around the country singing that mantra. And then the king heard that mantra, and then he had a daughter uh, who who uh, who became a widow. So he sent his soldiers to grab the monk. So he grabbed the monk and then sent it to his daughter. And then they spent the night together. And the story goes that they had a child. So when he was saying that he has a handle of the axe, he's talking about his penis and is looking for the vagina to put it inside. But anyway, so
Okay.
they had a child together, and this child became a very famous scholar, and he made a prediction that in the future, the humanity, since we're talking about salvation, humanity will receive a great teacher that will save humanity at the time of change from cosmic summer to cosmic autumn. And he will have the last name of a female that wears a hat. And the reason I'm telling this whole story is because the female that wears a hat is the last name An, or Anunnaki that you have spoken about. So the person that comes in the future with the last name An to teach Taeeulju to humanity is our Sabanim.
Okay.
Sabanim has that last name An. His last name is An, um, and he's the one who is teaching us Taeeulju. So in the end, Anunnaki is the root, but at the same time, Anunnaki is our teacher, who is the shaman, who is receiving the message of heaven and earth and teaching us Taeeulju. And with that, humanity is coming together as one. I know that the story kind of sidetracked, but that is the explanation that I was trying to explain to you, where the common word of An that appears everywhere in human civilization means, it really means the comfort, the shaman that brings together heaven and earth, and as well as our present teacher who has wrote this book and whose lecture that we are talking about today.
Okay, thank you.
Well, thank you for asking that question. Everybody have a wonderful evening, and we shall look into the meaning of enlightenment next Sunday. Have a good evening.
감사합니다.
Thank you.
네.